Yes, so in the last class, we were talking about this introduction to Vedas. So we basically studied what were the types of Vedas and what whereabouts of all the information related to Vedas and all. So say we do not have to go so deep into these things, as these things are so vast and we cannot even manage to do so. So hence we are just studying an overview. We are just studying how the Indian traditional knowledge system evolved, what are its components or everything. Okay. So today we are dealing with Puranas. So yeah, as you know, the word Purana in Hindi, it itself means something old, right? So Puranas, same. Likewise, Puranas literally means ancient. It simply means ancient text and all. So you can see here the Puranas literally meaning ancient writings function as one part of scripture for the Hindu tradition. Yes. See, most major religious traditions around the world have a text or group of texts that functions as sacred literature for the tradition. Whether the Quran in Islam or Hebrew Bible in Judaism, these texts are intended to provide answers to the big life questions like why are we here and how did we get here and all the questions related to our existence, like who created us, is there a supreme being called God over there, what was the purpose for our creation, and all this spiritual and all this kind of questions, right? This seeks to be answered by the traditional and religious textbooks. Please give me a moment. Yes, these Puranas are oriented towards the sacred or other basically something like a deity or some related concepts greater than everyday life and oneself. The Puranas, which simply means of ancient times, are Hindu religious texts. Yes, we are clear with this. They contain narratives about the history of the universe from creation to destruction and the genealogies of kings, heroes, sages, and deities. See, let us be clear with the word genealogy. Genealogy simply means tracing down the ancestral line or the hierarchical line of someone. So Puranas, you can say basically, it also talks about genealogies of gods and ancient kings and all. Okay, from which ancestors they descended, this and that. Okay, sorry. Some of the Puranas are discourse on cosmology, geography, and Hindu philosophy. In the later slides, you will see that Puranas cover a wide-ranging variety of subjects. The Puranas, although are very old, they are relevant even today. There are 18 Mahapuranas and 18 Upapuranas. Puranas are said to be the text that completes Vedas. So yes, we are saying that Puranas are the text that completes Vedas. So it in no sense means that Vedas are not complete. Vedas are complete in themselves. But what this Puranas does is that it throws out example, it throws out illustrations that helps in a proper understanding of the principles that are imbibed in the Vedas. Yeah. Suppose you throw some principle like we should always follow one's dharma and we should always speak truth and some this kind of information. If you principle, if you find this in Rig Veda, the Purana will throw you an example of Raja Harishchandra. You may have come across the word Raja Harishchandra, right? He was a person, according to Puranas, he was a person, he was a king who had to give up his all kingdom and riches and everything, and he had to live a very miserable life just because he was stuck with his dharma, he was stuck with his truth, right? So similarly, like any principle you pick up from the Veda, Purana will give you this and that example. If Rig Veda is saying you that you should follow your teachers, you should listen to your teachers, and Puranas will give you the story of Upamanyu and all. Let us talk about the difference between Vedas and Puranas. Vedas are Shruti scriptures. By Shruti scripture, we mean that uh, these scriptures were not written by human. Like in the last class we discussed, the Vedas are apurushaya, not related to humans. Humans or sages, they did not write it on their own. Gods came and told them, and they conceived the knowledge, and somehow they passed on to the other generations, and it got passed on, passed on, passed on, right? Generations after generation. So this means that the knowledge that are present in Vedas are Shruti. They are apurushaya. It is impersonal and authorless. Sages were seers rather than author of Vedas. Yeah. Puranas, on the other hand, it is part of Smriti text. You may know the meaning of the word Smriti. Smriti simply means memory, right? So the Puranas basically means that the sages and all they wrote it from the memory. So there are 18 Mahapuranas, which are great Puranas, and 18 Upapuranas, which are minor Puranas, right? So 18, Mahapuranas and Upapuranas are basically are types of Puranas. Okay, Mahapuranas because people, the common masses, they lay greater importance to these Mahapuranas, and Upapuranas they get least importance. Or we can simply say Vedas are much more difficult to understand for the common masses. Puranas, what it does is that it makes things easier to understand for the common people. Yeah, common people need to understand na, where this knowledge and where this logic behind this knowledge, this teachings is coming from. So if a person goes and says to study these Vedas and all, it is very difficult for that person because yeah, we studied in the last class. Yeah, no, no, yes, I haven't said you that. Vedas are written in, I mean, like the original scripts that you find, not original, the scriptures that you find are in the Vedic Sanskrit, which is very hard to decipher. Sanskrit itself is very hard. The Lokic Sanskrit itself is very hard, but the Vedic Sanskrit, it is very hard to understand the meaning of. So, if you sit down to understand the meaning of Vedas on our own, we cannot. We can never do so. So that is why what our saints and sages what they did, they came up with examples, illustrations of God and goddesses, of kings and queens, of great men, nobles, and everything, and to explain us the principles of Vedas. So we can simply say that Puranas are more popular version of Vedas. So, for example, I'm going to read out a shloka for you. We are just to illustrate, okay? So, Om Puranamad Puranamandi Purna Tapur Purna Tapirna Muda Chayate Purnasya Purnamadayana Purnamameva Vashishyate. Okay, so this is very hard to understand the meaning itself, right? So, see, if you read stuffs like this from the Vedas, you will not understand anything. That is why we need Puranas. What the sloka that I read just now simply talks about infinity. It simply means that this is whole. This world is like a purna. That is also a whole. From this wholeness arises that wholeness. Even after taking out wholeness from this one, wholeness only remains. That means that they are basically talking about infinity. So it is very interesting. These ancient sages and all, they already knew the concept of infinity. That is why the Vedas are still relevant in today's world, right? This Vedas and all encompasses very large, huge bodies of knowledge, which is even hard to decipher up to some extent. See, what Vedas are saying are for gross minds like us. We cannot understand, right? So Purana simply demonstrates it, like it picturizes. If Vedas is giving you the principle, Puranas will portray out the picturization. Vedas will simply tell you a principle in one simple line or two simple line, the shloka. But Puranas, what they will do? Puranas will create a story. Puranas will give you a vivid description. A simple two sentence line shall be taken, a whole Puran, I mean, like two, three books, two, three pages is all to be explained. So, yeah, let us read from the PPT. These texts were written over a long period of time, from about the 4th century BCE to the 11th century, and were ascribed to Vyasa, the Hindu sage who is credited with writing the famous epic Mahabharata. So, in this lockdown season, in the initial days, yeah, we had the opportunity of watching Mahabharata in Star Plus and Nationals, right? So, who was the author of Mahabharata? Writer of Mahabharata? Vyasa Muni, right? So, Vyasa Muni is also credited with writing Puranas. See, it is a very controversial thing. Many people do not know, and I don't know it is the right thing or not. Vyasa was not the name of the Muni. Vyasa is said to be a position given to a learned scholar, learned sage. Okay, like you have mantris, mukhyamantris, and senapati, all that. So, like that same wise, Vyasa was also a post, not the name of the person. But it is still debated, and hence we cannot be so certain. Let us just simply assume that it was written by Vyasa. They contain narratives about the history of the universe, from creation to destruction, and the genealogies of kings, heroes, sages, and deities. Some of the Puranas are discourse on cosmology, geography, and Hindu philosophy. Yes, they are usually written in the form of dialogue. You may recall that Vedas were written in the form of songs, but these Puranas are written in the form of dialogues. The Puranas, along with the Smritis, were composed with a view to establish caste-based Brahmanical social order. Yes, I told you about the social order in the last class, I guess. Social order mainly consists of Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras in the bottom. So basically, it is said that Puranas were composed to establish Brahmanas in the higher position. See, like I told you in the last class, people were divided into various stratas, these four stratas, according to the work they did. Those who were engaged with talking about God, learning and knowledge and all the stuff, they were considered to be Brahmins. The people who were related with warfare, protecting one's country, they were referred to as Kshatriyas. People engaging in commerce, trades, and businesses, they were called as Vaishyas, and the other who were doing petty jobs, they were classified as Shudras, right? So basically, it is said that these Puranas were composed to maintain the Brahmins at the topper portion, to establish them as the learned ones. The date of the earliest written text does not define the date of origin of the Puranas. Obviously, it does not define the origin of Puranas because Puranas, like Vedas, were passed on to generations after generations orally. So one cannot just say that at the time around which these Puranas were compiled cannot be said as the time it was originated or written down. Okay. They were transmitted orally before being written down, while at the same time they have been modified well into the 16th century and beyond. The Puranas offer answer to big life questions by detailing how the world was created and who created it. There are two major components of this. There are two major components of the Puranas. The first is myths and the other is genealogy. So Puranas can be described into divided into two components. It talks about gods and goddesses, their stories, and the other thing, genealogies. Genealogies, it studies the uh, hereditary or ancestral lines of ancient kings and nobles. Here you can see a page from Vishnu Purana. So you will not be able to understand what it is written here. Hence, we need the scholars, the Pandits, and the Brahmins to explain this to us. The five signs of the Puranas. The five signs of the Puranas, I mean, like the signs, sorry, okay. The Puranas contain myths and genealogies written in a flowing form like an epic poem to explain the history and importance of religious rituals, duties, and developments. Okay. So there are basically five signs which you will find in common in all the Puranas. Okay. So these five signs are: number one, there is a depiction of creation of the universe. These are your traditional stories of how the world was created and who created it, why it was created. So the first sign that you will find in all Puranas is that it contains stories about how the world was created, who created it. The second question that you will find is that it talks about like repeated destruction and creation of the world, of Earth, of universe. See, you may have come across the word Kali Yuga. Our grandmothers and parents and Panditjis and our Brahmins, they use this word Kali Yuga. So it is said that according to Hindu mythology, it is said that this is the last stage of the earth. Kali Yuga is the last stage of the earth where all the evils and all the bad things happen. After a certain period of time, the world will vanish, it will disappear, it will destroy itself, and it will start afresh. It will start up as a new one, and it will be the beginning of Satyuga. So there are four yugas. So the Dwapar, Satyuga, Kali, these are part of this yuga. So basically, this Puranas all talks about continuous, like repeated destruction and creation of Earth. The third sign that you will find common in these Puranas is that it talks about genealogies of gods and goddesses, like who were the parents of this god, who were the children of this god, who was the father of Lord Vishnu, who was father of Lord Brahma, who were their children, their descendants, and all that. The fourth sign that you will find is that it talks about first humans and the earthly beings. The first humans who inhabit the earth. You'll find a proper you will find descriptions and proper talkings about them in this Purana. And the fifth one is that Purana talks about solar and lunar dynasties. Solar is related to sun and lunar is related to moon. So we have syllabus. Syllabus I showed you in the first level, yes. Okay, I'll show it to you again after this class. And yeah, so basically the five things that we shall have in common is that number one, it should talk about creation of universe. Number two, it should talk about repeated creation and destruction of the universe of earth. Third, it should talk about genealogies of kings, gods and goddesses. Fourth, it should talk about the first humans on earth and the earthly beings. And fifth, it should talk about solars and lunar dynasties. Okay, so what are these Mahapuranas? There are a few major groupings of the Puranas. The first and the most important of this is the Mahapuranas, or the Greater Puranas. These are called the Greater Puranas not because they are better than the others, but because Hindus accept them as sacred literature. So we have basically 18 Mahapuranas and 18 Upapuranas. We do not have to go in details about all these Puranas, but we need to just understand, we need to just know that there are 18 of them. So Mahapuranas are those Puranas which are given great emphasis by the Hindus, and Upapuranas are of lesser importance. So see, these 18 Mahapuranas are divided into, are basically of three types. Six, like from among the 18, a group of six Puranas talks about are sattvic in nature. It means that it glorifies Lord Vishnu. The other six, they are rajasic in nature. They glorify Lord Brahma. And the other six, they are tamasic in nature. It glorifies Lord Shiva. So Hindus they basically talk about three gods: Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. Brahma is called the creator of the universe. Vishnu is called the savior, and Mahesh is called the destroyer. So Mahesh is in my Shiva. Lord Shiva is referred to as Mahesh. Okay. So basically, the Puranas are also dedicated to this three gods, this three central being of central god of Hinduism. So Vyasa, the son of Rishi Prasasara, Parasara, sorry, is said to be the author of the myth. So let us look at the types of 18 Mahapuranas. After discussing the 18 Mahapuranas, we will be good to finish up this. So the first one is Agni Purana. It includes geography of Mithila. Mithila basically means the area. I mean, like ancient Bihar was called Mithila. Sorry, in ancient times, Bihar was called Mithila. And a few neighboring state rulers like Odisha. Okay, so Agni Purana talks about cultural history, politics, education, iconography, taxation theories, organization, leading public projects, diplomacy, local laws, distribution methods, skills, plans, medicine, Vastu Shastra, okay, the modern architecture is called, gemology, grammar, metrics, poetry, food, rituals, martial arts, and so many things. See, and Agni Purana, which is only a type of Purana, in itself has so many varied subjects in it. Okay. The second thing we have up here is Bhagavata Purana, the most studied and popular of the Puranas telling of the Vishnu's avatars. So Bhagavad Purana, it talks about the avatars of Vishnu. So you may have heard that in Hindu household, when a person dies, so a priest is called upon and he reads out some Purans and all, right? So we are dealing with those Purans. Yeah, we have Bhagavad Puran, which talks about avatars of Vishnu. Then we have Brahma or Adi Purana, which includes mythology, theory of war, artwork in temples, and everything. Then we have Brahmananda Purana. It contains a controversial genealogical details of various dynasties, law codes, systems of governance, administration, diplomacy, trade, ethics, everything. So you cannot just say that this Puranas only talks about gods and gods. No, it talks about so many varied subjects. Brahma Vaivrata Purana discusses Shiva, Parvati, Ganesha, Devis means goddesses, Vishnu, Krishna, and Radha. Primarily in mythology, love, and seduction, stories of gods and goddesses, mentions geography and rivers such as Ganga to Kaveri. Basically, from north to south, the description of rivers are given in Brahma Vaivrata Purana. We have Garud Purana, cosmology, relationship between gods, discusses ethics. See, the most, it talked about words in the western side of this, in the western world is are moksha and karmana. All these things are discussed in Garud Purana. Most exotic words for these people. It also talks about charity and gift, economy, thrift, duties of a king, politics, state officials and their roles. So it covers huge, a hell lot of variety of subjects. Then we have Karma Purana explains Vishnu's second avatar. We know that Lord Vishnu had so many avatars. One of the avatars is Lord Nrsimha, who was responsible for killing Hiranyakashyap. There are so many stories. Then we have Linga Purana, which discusses Lingam, symbol of Shiva. Then we have Markandeya Purana, contains chapters on Dharma and on Hindu epic Mahabharata. We have Matsya Purana, which includes legend about Brahma and Saraswati, which is another controversial Purana. We have Narada Purana, which lists out major rivers of India, places of pilgrimage, various philosophies. Then astronomy, it talks about deities including Lord Shiva, Vishnu, and all. Then we have Padma Purana, describes cosmology, geography of rivers, festivals. Then Shiva Purana, Skanda Purana, Vamana Purana, Varaha Purana, Vayu Purana, and at last we have Vishnu Purana. A Vaishnavism text focused on Vishnu. So we know that Assam is a major hub of Vaishnavite saints. Yeah, Vaishnavism is followed widely in Assam, nationalist culture. So Sri Shankar Dev and Sri Madhav Dev were responsible for propagating this dharma. As we can learn so many things about Vaishnavism in the Vishnu Purana. So this is it for your today's class.